he's just probably just a little bit slower than what we're used to. But you know, we really have to adapt a bit quicker than what we have so far. And you know, obviously, I'm a guilty party there. So you know, I think it just hasn't been. You know, we haven't adapted to to his skill set quick enough.
Thanks, Moses. Cheers.
Russell Gould.
Yeah, thanks, Cole. Hi, Moses. Just the 3 innings so far, the runs just haven't been there in any of the games. I mean, how much do you put it down to a bit of sort of rust coming out of a bit of winter hibernation? But as you say, you've got to adapt quicker. You've been there sort of a while now. Do you still feel like there's a bit of rust, a sort of in-game rust there that you've got to work through? Because the bowling's been okay. It really just has been that inability to get runs.
Yeah, look, I can only speak for myself, and you know, I probably don't feel like, you know, I'm shedding away any rust or underdone at all personally. You know, having gone away straight after the domestic season finished to the IPL, trained and played the whole time there, and then in the couple of weeks that I had at home, I was still training. So personally, I don't feel like you know, I have any rust at all, and I doubt the other guys would. We had 2 practice games here before the tour started. You know, before the series started, I should say. But you know, I personally, I don't think it's that. You know, the West Indies are coming off a lot of match cricket, and maybe they're quite set with their plans and their strategies and so on, and you know, there's maybe that a little bit more confidence in what they're doing. As you said, we haven't played as a team or as a group for quite some time. So, you know, maybe we're still feeling that out a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's no excuse. We've got to play better than what we have. And, you know, I think probably the most disappointing game out of the 3 is obviously that first one. You know, if we finish that game off like we really should have, we had that in the bag. You know, we probably, I think that they took a lot of confidence out of that result, and sort of, you know, came into game 2 and 3, you know, a very different team, knowing that, you know, that they were able to win from a position that they really shouldn't have. And I feel like we just haven't been able to bounce back from that. But, you know, it just shows next time we get in that position and there's a game to be won, we've got to do everything we can to win that game. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to, you know, even get in that position in the next couple of games.
Just a quick follow then. I was just looking at sort of the age demographic of the team today, and Riley Meredith's 25, everyone else is 28 or over. Does that help in terms of not panicking, that level of experience in the group? I know there were a couple of younger guys, obviously Ryan Philippi didn't play today, and Ben McDermott's a bit younger, but the level of experience among the guys, does that help sort of no panic in terms of you're leading into a sort of a World Cup preparation with things haven't gone to plan so far?
Yeah, look, I mean, again, I can only speak for myself, but you know, at the end of the day, the only thing we can do is try to learn from these experiences, from these games, and try and play better individually and as a team, you know, in 2 days' time when we, you know, there's still so much riding on this, whether, you know, the series might be done, but we walk out, we're representing our country every time we walk out onto the field, and we're all giving our absolute best shot and trying to learn as quickly as possible, trying to get better as quickly as possible. You know, where just because, you know, some guys might be more experienced doesn't mean it hurts any less when you play poorly, or don't play as well as you'd like. In fact, it probably hurts a little bit more, because, you know, like we know we should be performing, we know we should be doing better than what we are. So, yeah, it's really disappointing not to be getting the results that we want. But, you know, personally, again, as I said, I can't speak on behalf of everybody, but there are still 2 games to go in this series that I'm going to be doing absolutely everything I can to try and win, and to try and improve on personally my own performances, and try and find ways to get you know, more out of everyone else that's playing as well. So, that's basically, all I can try and do for the next couple of days. Try and find a way to turn our results into positive ones.
Thanks, Russell. Just a couple more. We'll go to Lockie and we'll finish off with Andrew Wu.
Thanks, Cole. Hey, Moses. Obviously, he's had a quiet opening to the series, but seeing Chris Gayle in form like that, there's not really much your bowlers can do on a day like that.
Yeah, look, again, I think at the halfway mark at the 10, after 10 overs, they were just below maybe the run rate. And we thought, if we could just get a couple, 1 or 2 wickets there, and maybe get some of their, someone like Dre Russ or, Fabian Allen, Chevron in a little bit earlier in the game rather than just coming into bat for the last 4 or 5 overs. We could, I felt like there was still an opportunity there. And then he took that, took that over of spin down to that long boundary into the win. A couple of really, really clean hits from the big fella, which, he's one of the best strikers in the world. And he got it done there. And, it almost felt like once he got one of those away, it sort of unleashed him a little bit. Broke the shackles, and it also got them quite, those 3 sixes got him ahead of the run rate. So then he could, we had to attack a little bit more with the way that we set our fields and the way that we bowled. So he was able to capitalize on that as well. But, I think everyone, when they first went out to bat, found it a little bit tough, but I think he showed there with his experience. If you hang out there for long enough, you can definitely find some situations and positions in the game where you can take advantage.
Is clearing the
last one. Sorry. Yeah, go Lockie quickly.
Just quickly, is clearing the rope something you guys work on a lot? I think the Windies have sort of had 36 to about your guys' 10 this series.
Yeah, we did a lot of work on that. In the lead up here, we did a lot of range hitting, but I think I definitely feel like I guess their strategy thus far with how they set up with their bowlers, they've got very, I guess, defensive bowlers in terms of they're trying to protect boundaries, where I think possibly our bowlers are a little bit more attacking, and especially because we have been not scoring enough runs, they've been forced to bowl a little bit more creative and trying to take wickets rather than all out defense. And that's where, as batters, we've probably let them down, not scoring enough runs so that they can be defensive. I think the batters are obviously, to blame there in the fact that we just haven't put enough runs on the board to be able to, let the bowlers, I guess, bowl a little bit more defensively and set those defensive fields. Because, tonight showed just how quickly you can score when, you do set a lot more attacking fields.
Thanks, Lockie. Last one with Andrew Wu.
Yeah, g'day, Moses. Just to follow on from that idea of defensive bowling. I mean, tonight was the first game where you batted first. I mean, is that something you would, in terms of bowling more defensively, is that a ploy that you'd look to do more later this series on these type of wickets, and also at the World Cup when you're going to, I suppose, have these sort of sluggish tracks as opposed to the traditional Australian method of, really attacking?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting question, and I think we certainly have a different. Our bowlers are slightly different style to theirs. I think there's definitely things we can learn, but guys like Mitch and Josh, they have these fantastic attributes and assets that you don't really want to waste all the time on being defensive either. So it's a bit of a catch-22 that maybe a bit of there's a little bit to learn from there, but at the same time you don't want them wasting the fantastic attacking assets that they do have. But I guess for us, it'll be sort of learning when to use which strategy and at what point in the game. And then as a batting group as well, is finding a way to score off that defensive bowling that they score. So we have to actually find a way to put them under pressure when they do start bowling that, because we saw tonight at the end there, I wasn't able to capitalize and score quickly enough like I should have been at in the last few overs there, and probably didn't have the answers that I should have to that style of bowling. So that's something for me to also improve on and to figure out, to put them under more pressure, and hopefully make them second guess themselves or unnerve them a little bit more. So that's definitely something I need to also work on and think about ways that I can do.
And Mitch and Josh, their strengths, their records speak for themselves, but on these type of pitches, do you need do their sort of assets suit these conditions, or do you need to find, I suppose, bowlers whose natural instincts sort of suit these conditions better?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the answer to that, Andrew, to be completely honest, because I think as you mentioned there, a lot of bowlers tend to have that sort of natural instinct of what they want to bowl and where they want to bowl it. And I think if you look through their team, they've got, Dwayne Bravo's played 450 T20 games. Chris Gayle's played 450 T20 games. There's a lot of experience, and Andre Russell's played a heap of T20 games, and they've probably learnt so much from all those games that their instincts have been changed, and sort of morphed into this slightly more defensive mode of bowling, which has obviously worked for those types of guys. And I think our guys have had a lot of success doing it the way they do it as well. So I'm not sure on the instincts individually. It's a question you'll have to speak to the bowlers the individual bowlers about, because you speak to someone like Dan Christian or myself or even Mitch Marsh, where the first thing we're thinking about when we're bowling is defending. So and for the big boys, it's a little bit different. They've got a few more assets and choices to use. So it's a question that you're going to have to sort of pose to each individual.
Thanks, Moises.
Thanks, Andrew, and thanks everyone for joining us tonight.